Amazon sure tried their best to gaslight us into thinking Rings of Power was just the most successful, most watched, most beloved love letter to Tolkien show ever. But we know better. We've been knowing better. Now rumor has it they're trying to retool it. I don't know what the heck's going on. Let's go ahead and just dive into the video today because Rings of Power may be over, so I can't dunk on it every week on every episode like I was before, but hey, we got another opportunity today. So, rumor, Amazon to retool The Lord of the Rings of Power, sideline current showrunners after first season was more of a failure than they could have anticipated. Oh, the truth comes out. This is coming to us from Bounding Into Comics, by the way. I love them. All right, let's continue. With Amazon's live action bastardization of J.R.R. Tolkien's seminal fantasy works having underperformed by practically every metric, a new rumor suggests that the company will be retooling The Lord of the Rings of Power for its second season, starting with the sidelining of its current showrunners, J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay. Okay. Word of this apparent shakeup was first suggested by noted film critic, industry insider, and Film Threat founder Chris Gore during an appearance on the 314th episode of the YouTube live stream show Midnight's Edge in the Morning. Discussing the series' first season finale with that day's panel, Gore was eventually asked by host Andre Einhorn, what have you heard from your peers in the industry? Is everyone so impressed with Rings of Power like the showrunners suggest we should be? To which the critic admitted back, no. Okay. In fact, said Gore, not only were his industry contacts unimpressed with season 1, but the reception to it was so generally abysmal that Amazon has set out to course correct for season 2. Well, they gotta do something. We know they gotta do something because that was a mess. I heard from someone who has a connection at Amazon that if you want to know, that effectively they're going to be retooling, he explained. And Payne and McKay are more than likely, they're not going to be publicly fired, but their role will be reduced. Potentially just remaining in the writer's room, he added. But my understanding is they're looking for more experienced showrunners. Ooh. To this end, Gore detailed that Amazon is well aware of the problems before noting that while there's what they publicly say, well, we always see in all the marketing that it's the most amazing, most beloved show ever, there's also what they're actually doing behind the scenes. And what they're doing behind the scenes, he then asserted, is they're freaking out that this was more of a failure than could have been anticipated. As to what caused the company higher-ups to ostensibly sit up and get their act together, Gore speculated that there were 3 key reasons for this change. Okay, let's see. I think the quality of the show is the number one thing, he first opined. I mean, the writing is terrible. Audiences are like, why am I still watching this? This is sleep-inducing. Exactly. Okay, the second thing is the total rejection from fans. He next suggested, I can't believe there has to be very few people who remain to still like it. Also true, you got to make the fans happy. If you're going to do something relating to a property that already has an existing fan base, the number one important thing should be to make the fans happy. Not to make them upset, not to disrespect what they love so much and drastically transform it. I mean, this should be common sense. And thirdly, the direct competition from House of the Dragon, he concluded. Even like pre-seed and post-seed of the show's airing, it started earlier and is ending later, thus keeping it in viewers' consciousness for a longer period of time. Fair point. I know a lot of people are loving House of the Dragon. A lot of people who call the Rings of Power haters like myself and a bunch of other people, a lot of people who call us they want to call us bigots or say that we don't like Rings of Power just because there's a black dwarf in it, for example. House of the Dragon had race swaps as well. People love it. Now, I personally don't like House of the Dragon. I only watched first episode. I was very bored, but hey, a lot of people are still liking it. Good for those who like it. But at any rate, yeah, it's just like you can't blame the failure of Rings of Power anymore on the race swaps. Like it's tired. If the show were actually really good, then people would have gotten over the race swaps, even though it's not ideal, but the show is just terrible. All right, let's continue. Though it may be years before Gore's speculation is outright confirmed or denied, the damningly low audience score currently held by the series on review aggregate sites Metacritic and Rotten Tomatoes make it clear that something needs to be done should Amazon hope to justify their $1 billion Lord of the Rings investment. As of writing, The Rings of Power currently holds a collective 2.5 out of 10 rating across 2,422 on the former outlet. Ouch. 2.5. So wait, is this 2.5 out of 100? I thought it was 2.5 out of 10. Was he a 2.5 here and 71 here? Really? While on the latter, 35,548 fans have left this series with a scathing 39% rotten average. Ooh. Clearly, even without delving into the massive wave of discourse surrounding the honoring of Tolkien's work or the cast and crew's insulting of the author's fans, the series has failed to land with viewers. And while some may feel justified in pointing to its respective 71 out of 100 and 85% fresh ratings from critics, these numbers are provably suspect thanks to Amazon studio boss Jennifer Selk's own admission that they were censoring reviews from critics who had points of view that we don't support. Oh, that's funny. Okay. Which suggests an obvious slant in the sentiments communicated by those reviews which were actually published. Further, that Amazon attempted to slant public perception of the series in their favor, the fact that The Rings of Power still holds such a terminally low audience score speaks volumes to just how little audiences truly enjoyed this slogging ride. The entire embarrassing first season of Amazon's The Lord of the Rings of Power is now streaming on Prime Video. I always love how they end a lot of their articles. They'll have these quippy, like, little things there. You know, I need to see who... Okay, so it looks like they're trying to replace Payne and McKay here. I need to see who these characters are. Are they writers? Are they actual characters? All right, so I pulled it up to figure out who these Payne and McKay are. It looks like a writer and producer, and also writer and producer. Okay, well, I mean, the writing was abysmal. I think the writing was the biggest flaw in Rings of Power. There's a lot of other issues, and obviously it would have been nice to have more accuracy with the characters and such, but the writing was the worst, as well as Galadriel in general, her portrayal. I don't even have any issues with the actress herself. Like, I really don't personally have anything against her, but I don't see her as Galadriel, and I think she was terribly casted if they're going to be replacing anybody. Obviously, they don't seem to be replacing any actors, but I think this would be the one to do. Whoever writes her dialogue, too. But it goes so far beyond that. I mean, Galadriel is supposed to be this ethereal, very feminine 6 foot. What is she? 6'4" or 6'5", according to the books. Even you and I've talked about this on Twitter. Like, hey, can we get a tall Galadriel? Because this one's like 5 foot tall, and she's barely taller than the Hobbit, so it's just very jarring. And so when I say that, people are always like, oh, well, Cate Blanchett, she's not 6'4", she's only 5'8" or whatever. But they actually had her in platform shoes under her gown. So, and if you look at her next to the dudes, like, she's almost as tall as them and taller than some of them. So it's like, yeah, they actually did care enough to try to make her look like she should. And so in this kind of situation, it's just like, all right, platforms ain't gonna do the trick and make her look even remotely 6 foot, let alone 6'4" or 5, with this actress. But again, the writing was the worst part. So that's that. Do I have any hope that whatever season 2 brings or whatever is going to be good? No, because it's continuing on this. So that, yeah, it looks like they're replacing 2 big writers and producers on the show. I mean, I suppose it could get better, but do I think it's going to be great? I don't have much hope for that, but we'll see what they do. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I'll catch you next time. In the meantime, go boom.